This is the combined method of knitting and purling. It's continental style hold. I'm right-handed. This empty needle is my right hand. This empty needle is my right hand. And this is my left hand that is holding the stitches. This would be continental feed. It almost is as if I'm doing a crochet hold on the yarn. Basically is. Now the first stitch is always a little trickier, okay? But since this is now combined style knitting and purling, instead of going from the front to the back, from the left to the right, I'm going to go behind from right to left, just in the back of the stitch. And I'm going to scoop my yarn through the stitch that's on the needle, pull it off. Now my yarn comes forward because my next stitch is a purl. And I'm going to go into the purl stitch from right to left, scoop the yarn, pull it off my needle. Yarn goes back, scoop my yarn, yarn comes forward, go into my purl stitch, scoop my yarn, and off the needle. And I think you might be able to see how quick this method can be when you're doing your knit one, purl one ribbing. Okay, again, my empty needle is in my right hand. My needle with the stitches is in my left. Going to grab my yarn and thread it through my hand for the continental feed. Okay, and again, this is my knit stitch, this is a purl. How do I know? Because the purl stitch has this little bar across the front, this little jog, where my knit stitch does not. So I go in through the back, scoop my yarn, pull it off my needle, yarn comes forward. This is a purl stitch, so I'm in the front, scoop my yarn, back, scoop my yarn, front, scoop my yarn, back is a knit, scoop it, front is a purl, scoop it, back is a knit, scoop, front is a purl, scoop, back is a knit, scoop, front is purl, scoop. And that's a nice little ribbing, don't you think? It works, it's fine. Now, when I'm not doing that kind of knitting, oops, let me come up here. When I'm not doing that kind of knitting and purling to make ribbing, I'm knitting regular knit style, which is front to back, and I'm throwing my yarn around my needle. So this just goes to show you that after I've done that continental style of combined knitting and purling, I can return to English style knitting. I could return to continental style knitting if I chose. So whatever you're more comfortable with, but I do want to say that the knit stitch in this row, this first row, after you're done doing the knitting and purling continental combined style, it's a little bit tight. The knit stitch is a little bit tight this row. But after this row, the stitches become oriented to English. So whatever that twist is in English style knitting, I'm now going to have that as I continue my project in whatever pattern it was that I was working on. And you can see, here's a reverse stockinette. It looks like garter. And then I would just continue, if I were working stockinette, I would just continue by purling this row. Now I'm a little slower when I'm English style knitting, obviously, than I was when I was knitting and purling, ribbing, Continental combined method. But there you have it.